Yep, I've got the stopwatch ready.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome one and all to Super Podcast Action Committee episode number 118. Zachary Knight returns. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be back.
We missed you. We had a lot of fun with Jason
yeah.
Day last week, but we missed you.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you missed me. I listened to the show, and it was, you guys did pretty good without me.
Cool.
So.
Let me answer.
Jason's a great guy. He's always been, he was always fun to have on the show.
And thanks, Jason, for sitting in. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you it was a live stream. He thought it was. Last time Jason was on the show, we were. The last time he was on the show, we did a live stream because it was the 100th episode, I believe. Before that, though, we were doing all pre-recorded audio shows. So he was like, we're I guess we're doing it live. Yeah. So let's see. I've been playing Hyrule Warriors. I hope to finish that this weekend, but who knows? There are some people claiming that this is a 500-hour game to 100%. No, unless you find the game really, really hard. No, but honestly, about 80 to 100 hours to 100%.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time believing anybody who says any game is a 500-hour game to complete. It's just, if it's a 500-hour game, it means that it's something like Minecraft, where that's what you play all the time, and you never play anything else.
Yeah. At that point, it's one of those games. When you're talking about World of Warcraft or Monster Hunter, which is something I play, it comes to a point where, how do you measure how long it takes to beat the game? I kind of look at it, how long is it going to take you to see everything there is to see? In Monster Hunter, how long is it going to take you to see every monster in the game? 50, 60 hours, maybe. How long is it going to take you to beat the final G-rank boss online, Latreon in 3 Ultimate? 80 hours, maybe up to 100. Kind of depends on how good you are at the game. I've kind of averaged about 200 hours. I played a Tribe for about 200 hours, and I played 3 Ultimate for about 200 hours. And I got all the different. I fought all the monsters, and I got all the different armors and weapons for the character class I was playing. But if you were going to say, well, the truly 100% Monster Hunter, you have to forge all the armors and all the weapon sets. And it's like, okay, that could conceivably take you over 500 hours. Santiago Cali, I have not played the Bayonetta 2 demo. I do recall that it is the thing. I've been busy writing the guide for Monster Hunter. I already wrote the guide for Monster Hunter. I did that last year. I'm writing the guide for Hyrule Warriors, and it's taking a long damn time. I hope to be done this weekend. I'm close to done, but it kind of depends on if the game's going to be like, congratulations, you beat the game. Now here's more stuff to do. It's like, it's a fun game, though. I'm liking it. So, what's been occupying your time this week?
This week, it's actually a game that surprised me, but I bought one of the latest Humble Bundles. It was like the PC and Android bundle, and there was a game on there called Quest of Dungeons, and I actually ended up having fun, surprisingly.
Good. Because you always want that.
It's a it wasn't a game that I was interested in playing, but I was like, this is a small download. I'll go ahead and download it now and try it out. And it's a roguelike, and which isn't a genre that I normally play because I've played a few of them, and usually they're too brutally difficult for me to even have any fun, and I end up dying a whole bunch and stuff. But this one, the easy mode was actually fairly easy for me, and I was able to actually enjoy it. The game isn't long, but it once I actually got a groove and figured out which class I could actually play as and not die around every corner, I was able to beat the campaign in about an hour and a half, I think. So not too bad at all. The game has there's a knight, a wizard, a rogue, which is the archer class, and then a shaman, which is kind of a close range magic user, and so yeah, I tried it as the knight and the shaman, and the game just kind of kicked my butt because you have to get in and get real close to the monsters in order to actually attack them, and then once the monsters are right there, they're attacking you as well, and so I was just chewing through potions and stuff, and I wasn't making very far at all. And then I switched over to the ranger or the rogue and was able to shoot monsters and kill them before they even got close to me, and so I was actually able to survive. And I beat it in easy mode, and then I started playing it on normal, because it has easy, normal, hard, and then evil, I think, is the fourth one. Something like that. And so I started playing it on normal, and I was doing pretty well, and then I hit a monster, like a boss-style monster, that killed me in one hit and kind of ticked me off. I was like on floor 5 out of 7. And so I was just like, no!
What is this, Dark Souls?
Yeah, so it's actually I actually have had fun playing it, which was very surprising. I got to try out a couple of the other games from that bundle, but yeah, I need to stop buying humble bundles because I get too many games that I haven't played yet.
Yeah, I got a code for Five Nights at Freddy's, I think it's called, which I'm actually kind of interested to try out when I have some time because I really like the design. And it tickles my nostalgia bone because I have fond memories of I think the larger chain was Showbiz Pizza and their little animatronic stage show critters. So having them feature in a horror game is just kind of appealing to me. I forget how I got that. So thank you, whoever gave it to me. I just don't remember. Boy, my hair will not stay in place. Goodness. Sticking up all over the place. But it's the weekend. I'm just sitting around playing Hyrule Warriors. So Matthew says there's Star Fox Easter eggs in Bayonetta 2. You mean other than the costume? I hear there are. Yes. I'm not going to spoil it, but I have heard of some very cool Star Fox Easter eggs in Bayonetta. Yeah. And hello, Marie.
Yeah.
So, if I were not playing Hyrule Warriors this week, I would very much like to play Pikmin 3 or Wonderful 101, which are two Wii U games that I have not had the chance to play yet. I've owned them for the better part of a year at least, but
yeah, I still want to try Wonderful 101. It's a game that's intrigued me, and I've heard that it's very hard to learn, like very hard to master, and but the game just looks fun, and it reminds me a lot of Beautiful Joe, and and I believe the designer, one of the designers, worked on Beautiful Joe too, I think, but yeah, it's definitely been one of those games that has really interested me and made me want to get a Wii U, but yeah, I just don't have the money to get a Wii U right now.
Yeah, Beautiful Joe. I love Beautiful Joe. Beautiful Joe is great. Did you play Beautiful Joe?
No, I haven't, and it really bugs me that I haven't. I've had several chances to buy it, and I've always said, no, I'll get it later, but yeah, I really like the look of it, and I've watched, seen the trailers and watched a couple of videos about it, but yeah, I haven't actually played it, unfortunately.
Yeah, Beautiful Joe. Interesting story about Beautiful Joe. It has when you first turn it on, it has two difficulty levels. It has kids and adults, or something like that. Kids and adults only. And I was like, well, I'm an adult, so I immediately bumped it up to adults only, and it kicked my ass. So I'm like, okay, I'll play on kids. And
Nice.
I ended up playing through the game multiple times, beating it on. It unlocks progressive difficulties like Ultra V difficulty or something like that, and that game does get tough, but it's really fun. I didn't care as much for the sequel. I didn't think the sequel worked as well as the first one, which was a shame. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah.
So,
Like the Maximo games for the PlayStation 2 were kind of like that as well. The first Maximo game lived very much up to its Ghosts and Goblins pedigree, and it was very difficult to play and master and stuff, and then Maximo 2 came out, and it while it had its good points, it seemed like from what I've played, I haven't beaten it yet, but from what I've played, it seems like they made it a little easier, and which might be a little bit to its detriment, which is probably why we haven't seen another Maximo game come out, but that could also be, I believe it's Capcom that makes the game. I have to double check, but yeah, it's definitely a game series that I liked, but yeah, the second one just didn't quite live up to the first one, and so there's always those kind of games.
for some reason, Tenchu just jumped into my mind. Have you ever played any of the Tenchu games? Say you're a ninja and you sneak around doing ninja things. I played Ninja or Tenchu Stealth Assassins, I think it was called, on the Wii. Really liked that game, which is interesting because I think I played Tenchu 2 back on the PlayStation, I want to say, and I thought it sucked, mainly because the PlayStation sucked. I was like, out of my eyes. But I really enjoyed that game. It's one of those games you have to be patient with. It's kind of like Splinter Cell. You sneak around, wait for an opportunity, then attack. But I do enjoy those games, and I have no idea why that popped into my head. But maybe we need more Tenchu on Nintendo platforms. Whoever owns that, Konami, I don't remember. Okay, so let us start the show. We already started, but let us look at this week's poll. This week's poll, light and fluffy. Not as light and fluffy as, will we ever see Half-Life 3, but asked, how will releasing Smash Brothers on the 3DS first affect Wii U console sales? For those of you who don't know, Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers, came out on the 3DS a week or two ago, and comes out on the Wii U at the end of November, so about 2 months apart. We've known about this for a little over 6 months, maybe, which is shocked the heck out of me. A year ago, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that both would launch simultaneously, and with the Wii U struggling sales-wise, I thought, what Nintendo might consider doing? They might consider releasing the Wii U version first. Maybe just a couple of weeks, to have, just to get anyone who is like, on the fence of which version to buy. It's like, who were going to buy a 3DS. It's like, I was going to get the 3DS because that's a system I own, but man, if I could play it 3 weeks early, that's worth buying a Wii U. I don't think you'd get that many sales, but when they said, okay, 3DS is coming out in the end of summer and the Wii U version is coming out holiday 2014, I was like, what? That's in my mind. I was thinking, you're gonna sell less Wii U's that way, because now everyone who was, if there was anyone who was waiting for Smash Brothers to buy a Wii U, they might say, oh, well, why wait 3 months when I can have it on the 3DS, which I already own? Now, granted, some of these people may buy both of them, but there's going to be some people who it's going to be one or the other. They would have got a Wii U for it. It's like, I can't wait several months. I'll just buy it on 3DS. Of course, that was just what was running through my head at the time. So, how will releasing Smash Bros. On the handheld first affect Wii U console sales? We had 168 people vote. 28 people said the Wii U will sell less now. 44 people said Wii U will sell even better. And 96 people said little to no change. You 44 people who said the Wii U will sell even better because Smash Brothers released on the 3D. How? Maybe because the game is just so amazingly awesome that there's 40 million 3DSs out there and a bunch of people, but I think it sold like 2 million or something like that, the last number I heard. And like, oh my god, it's amazing! It's going to be amazing plus on the console, so I'm going to have to buy a Wii U now. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I voted for little to no change, but excuse me. But I understand why Nintendo did it. Because the Wii U has been selling poorly, and way below Nintendo's expectations, and I think this was more of a. I think releasing it on the 3DS was more of a. To me, it seems like it's more of a let's satisfy the shareholders for a little bit. Let's put one of our most popular franchises on our most popular current console. To maximize sales. But I don't think it's going to cut into console sales because the Smash Brothers is designed for couch play. And while it's fun to be able to hook up with people online and play on the 3DS, it doesn't capture that same Smash Brothers experience as previous installments have because you're missing that couch play, that living room play. And and especially with tournaments too, because Smash Brothers is a staple at game tournaments. I know that I know a bunch of guys who host game tournaments here in Oklahoma, and Smash Brothers is almost always on the roster. The only time it's not on the roster is when the tournament is for a specific game, like Madden or something. But Smash Brothers is always there, and it's always one of the most popular ones, outside of the first-person shooter things. But yeah, it's more popular than Soul Calibur and Street Fighter and other fighting games like that. It's the most popular one there. So yeah, I think for that community, the community that likes it for its couch play is definitely going to still buy it on the Wii U, and if they don't own a Wii U and they want to keep up with it, it'll definitely work. They'll definitely get it, but that might be hinging on whether it's any good, because I know that most tournaments still use the GameCube version. Which one is that? That Brawl and then Melee for the Wii U? Or for the
Melee's GameCube and Brawl is Wii, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but they still play the GameCube one because
Melee, yeah.
because the Wii U version brought in some features that didn't quite work, like the
everybody hates tripping.
Yeah, so they still use the GameCube one. So if it yeah, so if it lives up to the GameCube version, and it maybe even exceeds it, I could definitely see it taking over in the tournament scene. But yeah.
I have to wonder if Nintendo was thinking something along the lines of, oh man, no one's going to want to play Smash on the handheld. We're going to have to do something to make sure someone actually buys it there. Let's release it first so that we'll definitely sell some on the 3DS, because there's going to be super fans. I can't wait 2 months. And let's give it an exclusive mode, although I certainly hope that the Wii U version has some sort of exclusive mode.
Yeah, definitely. The Wii U is definitely going to need something to set it apart other than local multiplayer. It's got to have something beyond that, because I can't see it doing very well. It won't do its best without that. So we'll have to see what that is.
Matthew says, for someone who doesn't play it, you do know a lot about it. I'm a Nintendo fanboy, man.
Of course, yeah. You gotta know everything about it.
I make it my business to know. It's true, though. I don't, it's like, Andrew Smash Brothers release date is announced for November 21st, I think? Hold on. 27th. No, 20th. 21st. Yes, Friday the 21st.
One of those days in November.
Yeah, and as I think I boasted in the shout box, Big Boast, is like, hey, that predicting that Smash Brothers for the Wii U would make it out in time for Black Friday was the easiest prediction I've ever made. Where was I going with this? Oh, so it comes out the 21st. Andrew, excited? I'm like, heck with Smash Brothers. Captain Toad comes out on the 5th. That's the one I'm looking forward to, is Captain Toad on December 5th. And Toadette is playable, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's definitely something that's worth checking out. It's not always, it's not every day that some minor character from a Nintendo game like that gets its own real game. Not like Mario is missing for the SNES where Luigi can't die. Yeah. But yeah, Captain Toad looks great. I look forward to seeing how that works out.
Yeah, I watched the latest trailer, and they visually announced that Toadette was playable. Don't know if you can just select a character or if it's different characters for different stages. But they also showed some other Toad characters, other members of the Toad Brigade, and I'm wondering if you get to play as any of them too.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, but I'm still with the crowd that's waiting for a Geno or Mallow game. The characters that were designed specifically for Super Mario RPG.
I don't care about either of those characters. Of course, I don't. Hang on a second. Is this the right drawer? Yeah. He's talking about this game right here, Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars, and the two characters, they're not on the front of the box, so you're not going to be able to see them. There are two characters that were made up for that game.
Yeah.
And I don't care about either of them, and I really wasn't that blown away by Mario RPG. It's good, I enjoyed it, but I played it years later, and I was like, it's good.
I think it's for an RPG being made from a side-scrolling platformer IP, I think it turned out really well. It's a very well-designed game. Yeah, it's not the best RPG in the world, but it's definitely well-designed and it keeps you entertained.
I think it was just overhyped. I was oversold on it, I think, is the problem.
Probably, yeah. I could definitely see being oversold on it, but yeah, it's definitely but yeah, Santiago Kali is like amazed that you have a box.
It's got the instruction manual in it too. I've got the instruction manual in it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But someone mentioned Toad is gonna bomb. Matthew. Yeah. Well, I hope not. I hope people give it a chance.
For $40, or for is it?
It's 40. Yeah, it's retailing for $40.
Wow.
So
that's actually that could actually get it to sell a lot. For parents who have a Wii U or are planning to get one for Christmas, a $40 game, especially if they have young kids, could probably go over pretty well this holiday season.
Especially if they buy the Wii U for Smash Brothers, and it's like, oh well, let's pick up Captain Toad. It's only $40, and it's cute and colorful. And it's Mario, so.
And then they've got Bayonetta 2, which is actually 2 games in one, so that could actually work out pretty well too.
Yeah, although interestingly, I think on the eShop, it's buy one for $50, get the other one for $10 is how they're handling the.
For Bayonetta?
It's how they're handling it if you want to buy it digitally. So either way, it's $60 for both. But
yeah. Well, that's interesting. So you could buy Bayonetta 1. Of course, $50 for the first one. I don't know if that would go over very well. Because you got the people who would just want to try it out. I guess that they've got the demo, so I guess that could solve that. That solves that issue. They just grab the demo if they like playing the demo. They can buy them both.
Yeah, they had to release like 3 of the levels for Captain Toad. The demo that they've been using for the last couple events. STL Creator asks, are we more excited for Captain Toad or Bayonetta 2? Well.
That's really tough because they're 2 very different games.
Yeah, me personally, probably Captain Toad because I know exactly what I'm getting because we played those in Super Mario 3D World, so I know exactly what that is. I've never played Bayonetta. The original was not on the Wii, but since that one's coming out sooner, I think in a couple of weeks, October 23rd or something like that. I am probably more excited about that one because it's closer. But if I had both of them in my hands right now and time to play them, I'd probably throw in Captain Toad first. I actually had the chance to do to get Bayonetta for free, but I'm busy with Hyrule Warriors, so I'm like, no, I just don't have time. Let's see.
Is that for another?
Yeah, it's for the guide.
Okay.
Fans complaining that Toadette gets to be in a game instead of Princess Daisy or Waluigi. Peach has a Daisy-ish costume in Smash Brothers. Waluigi is an assist trophy in Smash Brothers. I'm not sure if Daisy is or not. But yeah, I'd like to. I really don't care about Waluigi, but Princess Daisy, I'd like to see her more. I'd also like to see Rosalina from Donkey Kong back some more too.
Yeah, but speaking of Waluigi, I watched a video the other day. I think it was a video, but they were talking about characters that they would like to see make it into Smash, and they were trying to figure out, what their move sets would be.
Yeah.
And Waluigi, they said, yeah, let's bring in Waluigi, and his entire move set was based around Mario Tennis.
If I'm remembering
that was his first appearance.
I think that's what his assist trophy does, is smack you with a tennis racket.
Yeah, but that was his first appearance, and but yeah, I don't know. I think Waluigi is kind of just an annoying character that they introduced because they felt they had to.
Yeah.
After Wario became so successful, so. I don't know, maybe if they brought him in as the second character in a Wario game, I think I could probably live with that.
Yeah.
Just so that it could be Wario and Waluigi, playing a game together, going on an adventure together, like Mario and Luigi. But Princess Daisy, I don't know a whole lot about her, so I couldn't tell you.
She's just the other princess. She was the one in Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. It's like, yeah, you rescued Princess Daisy, and as a kid, you were like, who? I thought it was Peach. Is this a different person? I can't tell. I'm a little Game Boy. Santiago says $40 for 70 stages is a steal in his opinion, or her. Yes, I agree. And the commercial said over 70 stages, so we know there's 71. Nestor says Daisy and Waluigi as main characters in their own game. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. If Tingle gets his own game, Daisy should have her own damn game too. And Nestor, you are right. I meant Pauline. I think I said Rosalina. Pauline. Yeah, Pauline, the woman in the red dress from the who's actually in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
So, okay, let us move on to a new topic as soon as I figure out what it is. Okay, so there is a game called Tiny Death Star. It is about a Death Star that is tiny. I think it's a Tiny Tower clone, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's made by the Tiny Tower developers.
Oh, so it's a sequel, or, well, spin-off, I guess.
It's a Star Wars themed version of Tiny Tower.
Okay.
Just like Angry Birds Star Wars is.
Right. Okay. So, Tiny Death Star is a mobile game, and it's a free-to-play game. So, I'd never heard of it until this article, probably because I do nothing with phones. Yeah. I'm a real gamer.
You're not a real gamer because you don't own a PS3 or a 360.
There you go. I'm one of those fake gamer guys. I'm posing. So anyway, Disney unceremoniously yanked Tiny Death Star from the places it called home without telling the people playing the game, especially those who have put money into the game, and not telling the developer that they were pulling. The developer's Nimblebit. And Nimblebit co-founder Ian Marsh told GameSpot, "The first clue we received was a tweet directed at us yesterday from a player asking why the game wasn't available on the App Store." And in another interview with Game Informer, he said, "We're very disappointed to see Tiny Death Star shuttered less than a year after launch. We had no prior knowledge that the game would be removed and no longer even have a contact at Disney after the recent layoffs. Suffice to say, if you're looking to partner with Disney, this might not be the partnership you're looking for." According to Nimblebit, the game was still a significant source of income for them. And Disney also pulled another free-to-play mobile game, Star Wars Assault Team. So apparent speculation is Disney, or okay, I guess it's not speculation, but a Disney rep confirmed that the titles were removed so the company could focus on priority titles such as Star Wars Commander, another game I've never heard of.
Yeah.
If it's not Nintendo, it's crap.
If it was a Star Wars game for a Nintendo console, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, like Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. Yeah. This is I don't understand why Disney didn't at least alert the developers that they were going to pull the game, because apparently there was some sort of profit sharing going on between the developer and Disney. And so if that was the case, just pulling that out, pulling the rug out from under the developers like that is just really bad form. I don't get what they're thinking.
Yeah, as Matthew points out, they have every right to do so, but yeah, bad form, Disney, bad form.
Yeah.
If not the least of which is for your customers, because your customers, who free to play or not, are actually putting money into this, and they wake up one day and it's gone. Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
But and just to so that we're clear, the games are still like, if you've previously downloaded the game, you can, or if you've, well, I don't know exactly how it works, but like you can still play your game if you've downloaded it. Yeah. I think if you delete the game off of your phone, you're kind of out of luck. You're not going to be able to get it again. But you can still play it. You can still make purchases and stuff in it too. But yeah, it's just crazy. I
wonder if phones with Tiny Death Star on them are going to be sold on eBay for incredible prices, like happened with Flappy Bird earlier.
Flappy Bird, yeah, that would be funny. I haven't seen anything about that. Of course, I haven't really been watching, but it just kind of makes me wonder how often this happens in the mobile industry. If you're partnering with somebody else, how many times, how often does it happen that that your partner who has the I guess the agreement with Apple and Google pulls the game. Because when I first heard this, I thought maybe they pulled it because of, or when I first saw the headlines, I thought maybe they pulled it over copyright concerns or something. Like maybe this was an unofficial Star Wars game, but no, it's
it's like Disney. You own Star Wars. It's okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And I don't know what the big deal was. If the games didn't require a lot of effort on Disney's part to keep them up and running, what would have been the harm in just keeping them up there?
Or at least would have given maybe given them time. It's like, hey, we got to yank this game. You got 2 weeks to do something. Convince us that it's worth our while to keep it up there, or move it to another platform, get another. Well, that wouldn't work. Say your final goodbyes. Go out with a bang, do something.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. It's like they could have said it. On such and such date, Luke Skywalker's going to blow up your Death Star, and then give all the players, a nice big explosion, just like from the Star Wars.
With the blast ring.
Yeah, with the blast ring. And,
what really happens.
But yeah, that would have been a really cool gesture and stuff, but they didn't get the opportunity to do that, and it makes me sad, and it makes me, as a as somebody who's working on getting into game development, makes me very wary of partnering with a larger company like that, especially if I'm working with their IP, it make me not want to take on those kind of projects. Because I don't want whoever it is that I'm working with just pulling the rug out from under me like that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So shame on you, Disney. Let us move on to a new topic, and the new topic is your friend and mine, Brad Bushman, who has a new study. Well, it's less of a study, more of a survey. I guess he studied the responses to the survey.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me find this real quick.
I read the responses to my survey and put them in pile A if they agree with me, pile B if they don't, and then I threw pile B on the trash.
Yeah. So let's see. The study is a survey of 371 media psychologists and communication scientists from 3 professional organizations, 92 members of the Council of Communications and Media of the American Academy of Pediatrics, and a nationally representative sample of 268 American parents. So we've got researchers, parents, and pediatricians. Bushman concluded that 66% of researchers agree or strongly 66% of researchers agree or strongly agree that violent video games can increase aggressive behavior among children. Agree or strongly agreeing with the same statement, 67% of parents and 90% of pediatricians.
I guess those pediatricians are well versed in child psychology to make that sweeping of a statement.
Not really their field, but it is interesting that parents and researchers are 66% and 67%. I got that backwards, so irrespectively. And I find it kind of interesting that Brad Bushman frames this 66% of researchers agreeing or strongly agreeing that violent video games can increase aggressive behavior among children. He calls this a consensus. That sounds more like a majority to me than a consensus. Do you think 66% is high enough to be a consensus? I wouldn't even call that an overwhelming majority. I'd just call that a majority.
Well, in the Senate, I believe that's a veto-proof majority.
Yeah, that's what, 60%?
Yeah, so I could definitely see that would be a consensus when it comes to the Senate, but just out of researchers, that's that's a what, 33% or 34%, people who don't agree, and I think 34% could be very persuasive to parts of that 66%.
Mm-hmm.
And given a year and some more data, that 66% could very easily drop below 50%. And then what happens to your consensus? Yeah.
Yeah, he says regarding the researchers, 66% agreed or strongly agreed, 17% disagreed or strongly disagreed, and the other 17% were undecided. He says something kind of interesting. He says, that means that among researchers who have an opinion, 8 out of 10 agree that violent games increase aggression. No, it doesn't, Bushman. Because the 17% who are undecided do not agree. They may not disagree or strongly disagree, but they don't agree or strongly agree either, so it's still only 66 out of 100 or 6.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds familiar. Did someone make that comment? Let me... yeah, Infophile made a very similar, almost word for word. Yeah, you and I are on the same page here, buddy. I must have read that like a week ago. Yeah, so I tried reading the study itself. It's in Psychology of Popular Media Culture, but you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no title for it, so I didn't know what it was called. And it's not on the summary of October's issue. Each issue they give a highlight of like the 5 or 6 big ones. This one isn't on the front page, so I couldn't even read the abstract. And so I'm not sure what the questions actually were. I'm not sure if they actually tell you which researchers they're talking to. So,
well, and you see, that's the that's the Brad Bushman's favorite type of research paper, one that he can frame as how he said, he could frame it in his way without anybody being able to verify that. He wants everybody to take it as his at his word. Matthew asks, how does he still have a job? And
he's a college
the thing
professor.
Is, he works for a college, and colleges are more than willing to accept any money coming from federal research grants that will come their way. And because he gets federal research grants coming his way, they're saying, yeah, you can keep doing this as many times as you want. Even though everybody else says that you're stupid.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is, having written for Game Politics for many, many years now, I've read most of these studies, and saying that the research finds that playing violent video games increases aggression, let's just say, is actually true. However, the increases are minuscule and meaningless. One of the things that the studies very rarely address is what exactly does this increase in aggression mean? So a kid plays a violent video game and his aggression is increased. Am I looking at him coming after me with a spork in a very threatening manner? Am I looking at obscene gestures, naughty language, or are we like play video game and going, darn it? That's an increase in increase in aggression.
Or playing a multiplayer game and it's just like, no, you killed me. That's aggression, but it's playful aggression.
I know you have to want. And another thing that I have not yet seen in any of these studies is how do these increases in aggression compare to other increases in aggression that we find societally acceptable, like when playing competitive sports, like flag football and PE or something like that. I mean, that certainly that even makes the parents who are watching more aggressive. Someone should do a study on that. So I think context is really important when talking about that, and we almost never get that. Now, Bushman actually does say something very interesting and actually quite poignant, if I can find it. Yes. He says, pardon me again, with the general consensus about the harmful effects of media violence. And he has just changed the argument from an increase in aggression to harmful. Increases in aggression are not necessarily harmful. I'm sorry, I'm editorializing. Let me just tell you what he said. He said, with the general consensus about the harmful effects of media violence, it may seem surprising that some people still question the effects of violent media on aggression. One important reason is that people don't distinguish between aggression and violence. That's true. I find that to be actually quite true.
Yeah.
People do seem to conflate the two a lot.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's exactly what Bushman wants. You know, he wants people to think violence when he says that violent video games increase aggression. You know, and that's one of the reasons why he always associates that increased aggression with violent games. You know, he doesn't say that they're competitive games or that they're action games. They're violent games. You know, and that's very key for the way he frames the results of these studies. You know, if he were to say that you know, kids who play Madden NFL 15 have an increase in aggression, people will like, so they get an increase of aggression when they watch the Super Bowl. So that you know, it's important to frame it as violent rather than just competitive, you know, and that's why he uses, you know, games like, I don't know what games he uses anymore, but you know, games like Call of Duty and, you know, Grand Theft Auto, you know, that's what he wants people to think about when they think about you know, violent games and aggression increases. So
what I always find interesting is a lot of these studies, when they tell you what games they use, they're really old games. They're games that are like 10 years old. And I'm like,
well, yeah, they're games they
can't you
can
get a GameFly or account or go to a Redbox or something like that? I mean, I know you guys are probably working on somewhat of a shoestring budget here, but can we get a game that was released in the last 3 years? So I mean,
know, it's like, you know, it's not like you know, the last Call of Duty game. You know, like you can get a Call of Duty game from 3 years ago for like $15. You know, that shouldn't be too hard to wrangle up, you know, 10 copies of that and use that in your research. You know, because you don't need 50 people playing the same game at the same time. So, but yeah, it just, you know, this story just made me shake my head, you know, and you know, the fact that you can't verify any of this, and this is one of the things that really bugs me about you know, getting research like this published, is that you know, there is a very aggressive paywall you know, to get access to this, and for the vast majority of people who would find interest in reading studies like this, the paywalls, you know, just really get in the way. You know, they're you know, they make it impossible to read and study this stuff. You know, you have to have a very wealthy backer, like a school or a major company that takes an interest in these things, you know, in order to keep up with the latest research. But again, like a lot of these journals that publish these studies, you know, they have astronomical like subscription fees. A lot of times it's a subscription. You can't just pay like $50 and get the one study. You have to pay $500 to get a year subscription to
the one that this one is in, the APA journal, I believe is a subscription.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'd be nice. You know,
I don't want to purchase a subscription just to read one article, just to read one study.
Yeah, which is but this kind of goes along with you know, just kind of a segue into a different conversation here. You know, we've had some issues with Pacer. It's the organization that that publishes court documents online, and you know, their fees aren't too bad. You know, they're way too high for what they do. But yeah, they put a paywall in front of you know, getting court documents.
It's like per page, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a per page fee, and some of these court rulings can get pretty lengthy.
Hundreds of pages.
And but just recently they you they brought a new service online. It's still way behind the times. It's still way more difficult to use than it needs to be. But
It's still on a GeoCities site.
yeah, but they eat like tons and tons of old court documents, and they got in trouble for that. Congress, that got the attention of Congress because of a lot of people were complaining, like lawyers and stuff. And they're like, "Hey, what happened to all these documents?" And they're like, "Oh, our bad. We'll start bringing them back online here soon." So, but it's just things like this. Research papers, court documents, things that you would think would be very beneficial to have wide open and available for everyone to access are some of the most difficult things ever to get, and it drives me insane.
Yeah, and there's a lot of studies and things that I would like to purchase, but I've got a video game habit to support, so.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so moving on to our last topic of the evening, or if you're on the other side of the world, the morning. Hi, Jesse. Shadows of Mordor. There was
He's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, well, actually, it's probably 2 a.m. or something like that. Well, that's still technically
something like that, yeah.
So, Jim Sterling, who does not work for Game Politics. Not sure how that became a confusing at any point, but in case anyone was not clear, Jim Sterling does not write for Game Politics. We have reported on what he has said or done occasionally, but he still doesn't write for us. I mean, if he wants to...
Somebody actually make that?
Yes, yes. I mean, if you really want a guest editorial on Game Politics, ask James.
With James, yeah. I don't see how, because there's never been anybody named Jim to write for Game Politics.
Well,
it went from Dennis to Pete, and then James. To James, and then the two of us.
We've had John, and yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, so Jim does a show on The Escapist called The Jimquisition, where he talks about video game industry stuff. And this week, or last Monday rather, he talked about Shadows of Mordor. People were having trouble getting early copies of the game to review, and found out that the I'm hearing a high-pitched buzz. Is that me?
I don't know. I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, it's gone now. Weird.
It's in your head.
It's all in my head. It's all in my head. The show is all in my head. Okay, so long story short, the brand, not the branding, the company that does the PR company, yeah. Right, gave the game to a bunch of YouTubers under some very specific guidelines. They said, okay, you can have the game early, but you have to make a video preview of it, and you have to follow, all of this stuff, which included things like, you must maximize awareness for the game during the Week of Vengeance, which I don't know when that is or what that is, but it sounds cool. You must persuade viewers to purchase the game. You must not show bugs or glitches that may exist. You must discuss the story, but not Tolkien or the books or the movies. You have to include discussion of the Nemesis system, and, quote, this really should take up the bulk of the focus, such as how different the orcs are, how vivid their personalities are. The agreement states that the FCC disclosure should be contained within the body of the description after the links and the call to action, which of course places it below the show more button that most
which actually violates the FCC disclosure rules. By the way, well, the FCC disclosure rules say that they need to be in a prominent place in the description, but also on the video itself too, at the near the beginning of the video. So I don't know if they said anything about where it had where if it could be in the video or not. But yeah.
Well, it does say videos will, or the agreement for reviewing an early copy of Shadows of Mordor, which is for everything but Wii U, by the way. Videos will have a strong verbal call to action, a clickable link in the description box for the viewer to go to the game's website to learn more about the game and learn how to register and play the game. Twitch stream videos will have 5 calls to action. Videos will be of sufficient length to feature gameplay and build excitement. Videos will promote positive sentiment about the game. And finally, the company has final approval of the YouTube video at least 48 hours before any video goes live.
Yeah, and apparently people who didn't abide by that 48 hours rule had their videos immediately content ID'd and taken offline. So that was an interesting thing to learn.
Yeah. So let's see. This is Warner Brothers Interactive, of course, is the company, but is the publisher of the game. Yeah. And Played Social, Plaid.
Plaid. That is actually spelled as plaid, so I don't know if they want it to be played or plaid.
I'm wondering if they're just into games and they want it pronounced Played Social.
I don't know. Kind of makes you want to go to their website and see, but I don't know.
Almost. But anyway, that's their social media PR firm. So you have to wonder how involved Warner Brothers was with this, and if any movement is going to be done to correct this, because this is obviously pretty sleazy. I mean, I guess I can't fault a PR firm for trying that. I mean, it's their job to make sure that the game looks good. It's like, hey, yeah. And they're targeting YouTubers, basically kids or young people who are just who like video games and are just on the internet talking about video games. It's like, I'll give you a free game if you say nice things about it, but you have to show me what you're going to say first, or you can't post it. It's only fair, you see, because I'm giving you something, so you have to give me something in return.
I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
It's baseball 1. They've gone to plaid.
Yeah, but and this is to be honest, this is the kind of situation that really rankles the feathers of people who are concerned about game or journalistic ethics and.
Oh yeah.
And I can understand this. To be honest, if I represented that same scenario, I would say screw you. Because I'm not going to deal with all this stupid BS. Because I for one would be one, be offended, and 2, would want to report on it the way that I want to report on it.
Yeah. Especially with all the discussion of journalistic ethics and stuff that's going on these days, this story had very little traction. I mean, I didn't see it really trending on Twitter. Most of the major game sites didn't really cover it all. I didn't see it very many places. It's yes, I see what you did there, Marie.
Yeah. But I definitely kind of took me by surprise that it didn't get taken. It didn't take off the way you would expect. Total Biscuit, I believe, is the first one to report on it. I believe he published a video, and Matthew said that he had to really do some work to get a copy of the game without all those strings attached. But yeah, it's you would think that it would receive a lot more traction, but I actually did some looking, and somebody had posted some links to the Kotaku in Action subreddit, which I believe is the Gamergate subreddit.
It's a Gamergate subreddit, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the more popular ones, I guess. And I actually looked through there, whoever posted this, posted a link to the Jim Sterling one that talked about, and which I couldn't find. Like I was going through the hot tab.
It got buried
and I
really
went through,
quick.
Yeah, I went through like 10 pages and didn't find it, and I found some that were somewhat related to it, but nobody was really calling for any kind of action to be had on against Plaid Social and or Played Social, whatever you want to call them. But no, there were really no calls to action about this, and which really made me kind of cock my head and say, what? Because this is exactly what I would expect. Gamergate and people who are really concerned about journalistic ethics to kind of take up and say, hey, this is the kind of crap we don't like. Stop doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Although,
but it never happened.
Yeah. It made me shake my head, too, because I was like, this is your wheelhouse, your bread and butter. This is what you're all about. Why does this not seem to be gaining any traction? And I was also kind of surprised I didn't see it reported on many news outlets either. Because I think, with all the crap that the games press has been getting lately regarding, journalistic malfeasance, you think they'd be popping up and say, well, we're not doing that, or talking about it, or at least be saying, we agree that it's important to talk about things like this. This is no good. This shouldn't happen. But I just kind of got buried. Maybe it was the fact that it was underreported that no one seemed to care about it. I don't know.
Maybe. Nestor says that he thinks he saw it on Eurogamer or maybe Gamma Sutra. I think Gamma Sutra reported on it.
Yeah.
It seems like the kind of thing they would.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely some kind of skeezy stuff, and I would never accept any kind of deal like that. To be honest, I've only ever been given one game. Well, technically two, but I never used the other free copy. But I've only ever been given one free game that I actually used for a review. But there were no stipulations from the developer. They were just like they knew that I liked one of their previous games and wrote a good review about it. And so they're like, "Here, do you want a free code to get our latest game?" It's like, "Sure, why not?" Because I'm not one to turn down a free game, and that was it. They didn't even ask me to write a review. They just knew that I liked it, and I guess they kind of expected me to, which I ended up doing because it was a fun game. But yeah, it's just I don't like I don't like stipulations like this. And
Murray SWE says this is so silly. The game is actually good. You didn't have to go down this ludicrous path. Still with the Spaceballs references. I agree. That's the interesting thing is this game is getting a lot of really positive pre-release attention from all the major outlets. So I don't know why Warner Brothers PR firm Played Social. I hope it's Played, whatever it's called. I want them to pronounce it Played because because as what's his name? I don't remember anymore. Lewis Lovehog says poor literacy is cool. But this does seem completely unnecessary. I mean, I imagine that they're like, we don't want to give you a free game if you're just going to trash it on the internet. I can see that, but whether someone's going to trash it or not, they're going to do it before it comes out or after it comes out. If you're really that worried about it, don't do pre-release copies. But telling people, you have to review our game really nicely, and you
have to say this. You can't say that.
Say this and this. Put this in the
description. You can't show this. You can't show that.
It has to be this length. And it's we approve it before it goes live. It's like, oh, man.
See, that one right there is probably the most killer. The the biggest thing that would kill the whole deal. You know, I'm all for putting a call to action in there. You know, it's like, you know, I always throw something at the end of my game reviews, just like, you know, you should buy this game or avoid this game, whatever. You know, yeah, but telling me that I have to let them review the review, you know, go over the review and give them veto power over it. Yeah, I would definitely, that alone would kill any potential deal, no matter how sweet everything else is. Because
And you have to wonder if you know, no journalist should, of course, but you have to wonder if any of them would let such a distasteful situation color their opinion of the game. I certainly hope not.
Yeah, you know, you know, it would make me question, you know, the fact that this came out, you know, it definitely makes me question any video reviews that came out before the game's release, because if any of them are there and they have, you know, they have all these elements that this report has said they would have.
Well, it shouldn't be hard
I
to
would
figure out
definitely
because it's
brush
going to be
off that.
following a pretty specific script.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and so yeah, I would definitely not watch any of those videos and look for the ones that don't have those telltale signs.
Mm.
But personally, I think all video reviews, all game reviews should have a link back to the website of the game, and possibly a place to buy it if it's available. You know, if a link is available. I think all reviews should have that. But yeah, but all the rest of that crap is just stupid.
Yeah. So shame on you, Plate or Plat, or whatever the heck your name is. You know, do better. I know PR is hard, but do it better.
Yes.
So, okay, that is our show for this week. So let us plug our stuff and get out of here. My name's Andrew Eisen. Eisen is the last name. Twitter, @AndrewEisen. Facebook, Andrew Eisen. YouTube. And as you can probably figure out from that name, I'm on YouTube too. So just type my name into YouTube, you'll find my stuff. And I'm on Twitch, so twitch.tv/Andrew Eisen. Currently, I'm prepping for the Extra Life 24-hour charity marathon on the 25th of October. That's a Saturday. I'll be playing video games for 24 hours straight, noon to noon, noon Saturday to noon Sunday, Pacific Standard Time, to raise money for the Rady Children's Hospital here in San Diego. To help promote that and to keep you guys entertained until then, I'm streaming every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know that's not the most convenient time for really any of you, but that's the only time I can do it. I work till 7. I'm busy every other night. So we've been having some horrible technical difficulties. 2 weeks in a row I've tried to play Zack and Wiki, and 2 weeks in a row my capture hardware has crashed. My capture hardware does not like Zack and Wiki, and that makes me sad. So, per Matthew's suggestion, maybe I'll try streaming the Bayonetta demo. We'll see. If you'd like to pledge support, the money goes straight to Rady Children's. You can find my page. Just go to extra-life.org, type Andrew Eisen in the Find a Participant, and you'll find my page. We've raised $78 so far, last time I looked, so thank you all. Nice. And that's it for me, so Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter, Easy Night, and you can check out DK_gaming. That's my game development Twitter handle. That's for DivineKnightGaming.com. I'm going to try to get a game done for October. I failed to get one done for August or September, and I feel bad, so definitely want to try to get one done this month and the next 2 months. And you can also check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and okgamedev.com, and that's where I write about game news from Oklahoma. And yes, I buy games from game developers in Oklahoma. I support their Kickstarters, and I write about them. So if that bugs you, then don't read the website. And then you can also check out randomtower.com, where occasionally I do write game reviews for other games, for like mainly the Ouya and Linux. So check out all those places.
All right. You've been listening to episode 118 of the Super Podcast Action Committee. Weekly podcast every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, streams live on GamePolitics.com. So if you're watching on YouTube, you could have participated in the chat, but you stayed on YouTube. But it's my YouTube channel, so you're very welcome there. All right, so follow us at SuperPack Podcast on Twitter. Email us, superpackpodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes and like us on Facebook. We will be back at you next Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on GamePolitics.com with episode 119. So you all have an excellent week. See you then. Bye.
See ya.